This is for my fellow Muslims. If you are not Muslim, of course, you could watch this. I can't stop you, but just know this is not geared towards you. Assalamu alaikum, Muslims. There are a lot of you who should be deeply ashamed of yourself for how you acted in the last week with the news story breaking about the tunnel that was discovered under a synagogue in Crown Heights, New York, and how quickly you just nosedived straight into the most disgusting anti-Semitic conspiracy theories. You are the exact same group of Muslims that if you were not actually born Muslim, you would not care less about anything to do with the watermelon people and their struggles for freedom and liberation. You cannot tell me that you care at all about actual injustice and oppression going on in the world, and yet when you see another marginalized group and any opportunity to dog on them and jump on them and amplify horribly racist, disgusting stereotypes about them, that you just jump on and go with it in exactly the same way as the people that we critique about how they talk about the watermelon people or any other injustice that faces Muslims. And as bad as it would be if this were about any group, this would be completely unacceptable and completely haram to be engaging in, but to be doing it about one of the groups of the people of the book? Do you have no shame? Have you actually read the Quran? What on earth are you doing? There is so much wrong with everything about how you all have acted. Again, I'm talking specifically to the Muslims who have engaged in anti-Semitic behavior and rhetoric and so on. Not all Muslims. If you did not do that, let it pass. I'm not talking to you. There is so much wrong with how you all have behaved in the last week, and all of it being completely haram. But I want to specifically look at how Muslims today, in the modern age that we are in, how we are treated by non-Muslims, by Islamophobes. Where are the stereotypes that we are constantly having to fight about Muslims being barbaric and Muslim women being oppressed by the men who are overly sexualized and barbaric? And we see the same thing of how Muslim Arab men from the watermelon community, men from other Muslim ethnic groups, how are we all treated? How are some veiling treated? All these stereotypes that we now still, to this day, have to deal with, that we are fighting in all parts of our lives. And yet, where do you think that those stereotypes first originated? They originated from European Christians hundreds and hundreds of years ago because they needed to justify their conquest of the Holy Lands of the Crusades, and so they had to find some reason to hate on and make Muslims the villains. In the same way, there were a lot of European Jews that have lived in these countries for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, however many years, and they had to find another reason to justify why they were othered, because generally, phenotypically, they would, what we would consider in modern day, white. But back then, that concept did not exist. Race did not exist as a concept back then. Racial categories of white, black, brown, and so on did not exist back then. So they divided people by religion. And so they had to come up with stereotypes to justify why they were doing what they were doing and why they were justified in treating people in this way that was completely un-Christian. Not only have you all engaged in completely haram gossiping, spreading unverified information, especially unverified information that is going to actively cause harm to another community, and not just any other community, as much as that would be completely wrong no matter what the community is, but also that community in question is one of the people of the book. But on top of that, the exact same source of these stereotypes that we face in our own community from non-Muslims that we're still battling today is the same enemy that we as communities have from hundreds of years ago, and you're just doing their work for them. Even if none of that matters a bit to you, which it absolutely should, but let's say none of that matters to you, you all, by engaging in this anti-Semitic rhetoric, you have directly given the blue and white cause a win, because their whole shtick is that being pro-watermelon means that you are anti-Jewish. You are anti-Semitic. It is at its core a position that we take to mean that we hate all Jews, which it absolutely is not. But you have proven them right in this case, because you fighting for the watermelon country and for their freedom, while you are also posting and reposting watermelon content, and you are also engaged in actual real anti-Semitic behavior and amplifying that rhetoric, you are giving them a direct win. So as much as I would love to see Muslims from all different ethnic backgrounds, from different nationalities, from all different places around the world, uniting around fighting oppression of all peoples, no matter who they are, no matter whether they are Muslim or not. I know that that's not a thing quite yet. Inshallah, sometime in my lifetime, I will get to see that. But in the meantime, even if you only care about fighting for the watermelon cause, you have actively damaged that cause that you care so much about by doing this. If you've gone to this far in the video, I want to direct your attention to all of the tagged accounts that I will have put in the description below. These are all anti-blue and white Jewish content creators who I have been following, some for a very long time, some more so in the last 3 months, but all of them I can vouch for are amazing creators, educators who are deeply pro-watermelon and will be amazing resources about the lived experiences of Jews in this work and in this world overall, and for you to start respectfully learning from them in order to unlearn your anti-Semitism. I emphasize again, if you go and follow them from this video, from me, if I send you their way, you will not treat them with any disrespect. If you have questions, ask them humbly and sincerely. Do not disrespect them in any way. I am never ashamed of being Muslim, but there are so many instances where I am ashamed of the behavior of my fellow Muslims, and this will not be one of those times where I am sending Muslims to non-Muslims pages for them to respectfully learn, and you will make all of us look badly. I'm a believer that all of us make mistakes. I absolutely make mistakes, and sometimes it is appropriate to call people in, sometimes it is appropriate to call people out. And if you are someone who engaged in anti-Semitic behavior or amplifying content that was anti-Semitic, you need to take accountability for what you did. You need to be doing your prayers and asking for forgiveness from Allah for what you have committed in the last week, and now going forward, learn and do better, because it is possible.